The Wild West was built on 6 shots. That weapon became a symbol of America's frontier. Its name was Colt. But here is the strange part. Samuel Colt invented the gun that armed the West. He never saw the Wild West himself. He built his empire from the East Coast. His idea began with childhood grief and a ship's wheel. This is how it happened.
Samuel Colt was born in 1814. He grew up in Hartford, Connecticut. His family was comfortable but not wealthy. His mother died of tuberculosis when Samuel was 6. 2 of his sisters also died young. One death was linked to the same illness. Another sister took her own life. Before Samuel turned 10, grief surrounded him. His house became quiet, cold, and painfully empty. Science made more sense, so he saved his money and bought an encyclopedia. He read about electricity, machines, and Chinese gunpowder. While other boys played, Samuel studied how things worked. His father's factory became his real playground. Looms, belts, and gears fascinated him.
He worked odd jobs on nearby farms. The machines gave him a direction. Samuel did not know it yet, but his pain was becoming fuel. When Samuel was 11, he met a soldier carrying a flintlock rifle. The gun held 1 bullet. Then the shooter had to reload. Samuel asked a question that sounded almost rude. Why not make it hold more? The soldier had no answer. A few years later, Samuel sailed toward Calcutta, India. On the ship, Samuel noticed a capstan. It was a vertical wheel used to pull heavy ropes. The capstan solved a gunman's biggest problem. What if a weapon had a rotating cylinder? What if bullets sat around its center?
Turn the cylinder, lock it, and fire again.
Samuel carved a wooden model during the voyage. It was crude, but the central idea worked. 6 chambers could replace 1 slow reload. A ship's machine had become a weapon design. That was exactly why it was powerful. When Samuel returned home, he built another wooden model at 21. He found a gunsmith willing to build it in metal. The early Colt revolver held 6 bullets. Its rotating cylinder made repeated shots possible. Its parts could also be repaired and replaced. That was revolutionary for its time. Samuel received U.S. patent 9430X in February 1836. He showed the invention to anyone who would listen. The design was too new and too risky. His first company, Patent Arms, opened in Paterson, New Jersey, but sales were weak. The company struggled and closed in 1842. Samuel lost almost everything. Then, in 1847, war created an opening. The Texas Rangers needed reliable weapons. They ordered 1,000 Colt revolvers. The order was reportedly paid in advance. Samuel finally had the chance he needed. Colt used the advance to open a new factory. The 1,000 revolvers were produced. Word spread quickly across America. Even outlaws wanted them. America was expanding westward. The frontier was dangerous and lightly governed. But Colt was selling more than a weapon. He was selling consistency. His factories pushed mass production forward. Parts were made to fit interchangeable guns. Before this, guns were often handmade, one at a time. Each weapon could be slightly different. Colt wanted every gun to work the same way. That made repairs faster and production larger. The Mexican-American War proved the revolver's value in the field. Later, the Civil War created even more demand. His factory worked constantly. Thousands of weapons carried the Colt name. The wheel kept turning, and the inventor's idea became an industrial empire. Samuel Colt died in 1862. He was only 47 years old. His company was worth about $15 million. That would be roughly $484 million today. His son, was only 4 years old, so Colt's brother-in-law, Richard Jarvis, took over management. The most famous Colt arrived after Samuel's death. In 1873, the Single Action Army appeared. Its nickname was the Peacemaker.
The U.S. Army ordered 30,000 of them. The revolver became an icon of the American West. Decades later, John Browning designed the M1911. It was designed in 1903. The U.S. military adopted it in 1911. The semi-automatic pistol eventually replaced the revolver in service, but the name Colt survived both weapons. Samuel Colt had become a legend he never witnessed. Here is the strange truth. A grieving boy built a machine that defined a continent, but his name became part of every frontier story. It is about seeing a problem and refusing to let it go. A ship's wheel became a weapon revolution. A grieving boy became an industrial legend. The Wild West was wild, but the man who armed it stayed home in the East and changed the world anyway. If this story surprised you, subscribe.